take a look here at our answers. Okay, so how this will work then is you're going to answer, you're going to correct your own. Again, it's not graded, so there's no incentive to, not count one wrong.
Christy?
Why, hello. Yes. What? So at 2 o'clock? Okay, sounds good. I'm staring at her beady little eyes and she knows now. All right, bye.
What impression were you doing?
No impression, just being at work. 2 o'clock! Not early. All right, so here's the thing. What I want you to do is if you get one wrong, go ahead and just like put an X by it or highlight it, or highlight the number or whatever in red or something along those lines, okay? Just to indicate. And what we want to do is we want to count it up here at the end and just kind of see how we did, right? And again, now, just think about it, obviously. You guys have been around the block a time or two. Many of you are seniors, some of you are juniors, but you're old enough to understand. If there's a pre-test, it probably stands to reason that there's also a post-test. And it just so happens that the post-test looks eerily similar to this one. And when I say eerily similar, I mean exactly the same. Okay? So our idea here is that we're going to kind of compare and contrast, see how far we've grown, see what we've all learned, and hopefully we score significantly better. FYI, if maybe you didn't get as high of a score as what you wanted, that's totally okay, right? Because that actually means that there's more room for improvement here as we go along. All right, here we go. Which statement, if you think you know the answer, just go ahead and shout her out here. Which statement about the Bill of Rights is correct? What do you think? Is it A, B, C, or D? Somebody? B is the correct answer. Protects the people from the government. That's true. Okay, we'll talk more about that. Right? Just what it says, right? The Bill of Rights. Okay? The 10th Amendment says power is not delegated to the United States, blah, 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 blah. Which principle of the Constitution, or excuse me, of the government is best reflected by the 10th Amendment? Any guesses on that one? This is actually something we're going to talk about here at the end of this first unit. You freaking cheater. I have no idea. Yeah, no, you're right. Federalism. Federalism. Nice, Jay. There we go. The sharing of power between the state and federal government. That's right. Exactly right. Number 3, if the federal government passes a minimum wage law that is higher than the state minimum wage, the federal minimum wage law must be followed. This is an example of what? Any idea? I'll give you a clue. Well, the answer is actually a big clue. If something is above you or above someone or something else, we say it's what? Supreme. In this case, it's the Supremacy Clause, C. We will talk about that as well. Okay, number 4, a democracy, also part of our first unit here. A democracy can best be described as a government of the people. Very good. That's right. It's D, of the people. In Greek, demos literally means people. Okay. All right. Which of the following can the President of the United States do? This one's a little tricky. What can they constitutionally do? What do you think, Jay? D is correct. Appoint Supreme Court judges. All the rest of those are not within their power. Okay? And we'll talk a little bit more about how that's a little complicated, especially when you look at letter A. Technically, they are the commander-in-chief, but do they have the right to declare war? No. Okay? Number 6, what role does the government play in the lawmaking process? C is the correct answer. They can reject a bill passed by Congress. And actually, what do we call that? It begins with a V. Veto. Correct. That's right. Okay. Number 7, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution are A, the Bill of Rights. Good. We'll focus a lot on the Bill of Rights. As a matter of fact, out of the 10 amendments of the Bill of Rights, we'll probably talk about 7 of them. The others aren't really that important. Like, we don't have to worry about not having to house soldiers in our homes anymore. Right? That one's not really as relevant. But anyway. Okay. Number 8, a plan that provides the rules for government is called a Constitution, correct. As a matter of fact, our Constitution is the longest lasting Constitution in world history, and it's only 5 pages long. 5 pages, that's it. And most of it is actually the legislative branch, but that's a whole nother story, okay? As a matter of fact, you can see kind of similar kind of photocopies of them back there. That's about what the Constitution looks like. Has anybody been to D.C. and seen it at the National Archives? Yeah? I mean, it's only 5 pages long. It's not very big. 9. Which of the following, and by the way, this is very, very relevant today, and I'll explain why here in just a moment. Which of the following is a requirement to become president? A requirement, constitutionally speaking. Have to be it. A, you have to be a native-born citizen. You have to be born in the United States. Now, the reason why this is very, very relevant is that some people are accusing or stating that Joe Biden's vice presidential candidate, Kamala Harris, is not a native-born American. And therefore, she can't be vice president, because if you're vice president, she might have to be president someday. FYI, that's not true. She was born in the United States. Her parents were not, but that doesn't matter because she was. They've kind of found, they've looked at her birth certificate, and in fact, she has one. So anyway, but there's a rumor got on the internet, and that's a whole other story that, as Abraham Lincoln said, you can't believe 99% of the stuff on the internet. Some of you caught that. All right, number 10. How have third parties affected American politics? What have they done? So you have the Democrats and you have the Republicans, but what role do parties other than that play? A, that's correct. A lot of times what they do is they decide the election not by winning the election, but by determining who wins the election, by taking votes away from somebody else. Like, for example, in 2000, it was a dude by the name of Ralph Nader, which I don't know why you'd vote for anybody named Ralph. But Ralph Nader took votes away from Al Gore and basically gave the presidency to George W. Bush. Or if you want to go back even 100 more years, you would talk about Teddy Roosevelt and the Progressive Party or the Bull Moose Party. Okay, number 11. What is the constitutional duty of the vice president? As John Adams famously said, the vice president of the United States is the most damnable position ever created by man, meaning it's the most pointless. This is really all you do. What's his only constitutional duty? Nope. Good guess, though. A, he or she is president of the Senate, but it really stinks because you can only vote in the case of a tie and you cannot enter debates. So literally all you do is cast your vote in case of a tie, which happens almost never. 12, rules that have the force of law are called... Anybody know? I'll give you a clue. President Trump has issued more than any other president in American history up to this point. Executive orders. Now, you could argue whether that's a bad thing or a good thing, and we will talk about that. A lot of Republicans will say, well, he has to because Congress is doing jack squat. Okay? So, all right, number 13. The written explanation of a Supreme Court decision is called an... Nope. Good guess, though. B, opinion. That's actually our second unit. All right, 14, the power to confirm, keyword there, Supreme Court appointees resides with... Anybody know this one? The Senate. Good. Who was that? Was that Jay? Good. It's the Senate. That's correct. We'll talk about that. That's part of an idea called separation of powers. 15, this prohibits the government from unduly interfering with a person's freedom of religion. Good, Logan. That's correct. The free exercise clause. You can believe what you want to believe. That does not, however, give you the right to do whatever you want to do. All right, there's a big difference there. You can believe whatever you want to believe. Like, for example, what if I told you California about 3 or 4 years ago just made Jedi an official state recognized religion? Jedi.
What?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
What?
Yeah, the flying spaghetti monster. Yeah, okay. Yep. Right? So you can believe what you want to believe, but you don't have the right to do what you want to do. So, for example, if you wanted to, like, be an ancient Aztec and, worship the gods of the ancient Aztecs, that's fine. That does not, however, give you the right to strap people down and rip out their hearts like the ancient Aztecs did. You just can't do that. Right. Yeah, there we go. Just like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 16, the process of redrawing lines after reapportionment, which is tricky because you got to know what reapportionment is called A, redistricting. We'll talk more about that too when we get to our executive branch here. All right, 17. The presiding officer in the House of Representatives is the Speaker of the House, correct. The third most powerful position in the government, right? In case of emergency, they would be the third person in line to be president of the United States. 18. What implies that Congress has more powers than set forth in the first 17 clauses of Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution? Rising Scholar students, we talked a little bit about this. For the, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Just a worried look on Kaylee's face, that's all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is good. Nice, Caden. It's the necessary and proper clause. It gives the government the power to do anything that it feels is necessary and proper to conduct their business. Now, if you think about it carefully, though, here's the problem. Who gets to decide what's necessary and proper and what is necessary and proper? Right? But the Senate changes hands all the time. Hence the problem. In fact, that is the key issue that divides the political parties today. What should the government be able to do? What should they not be able to do? What's their role? What's their job? All that stuff we're going to talk about here actually soon. 19. Through public works projects, Congress appropriates billions of dollars of funds for local projects that are called A, pork barrel projects, or PORC for short. A classic example, maybe the most infamous example, Alaska. About 15 years ago or so, Alaska got $250 million to build a bridge to an island where nobody lived. Right. Okay, so they jokingly refer to it as the bridge to nowhere, and government money was used to build it. All right, what is the purpose of a grand jury? A grand jury. Anybody know? We'll talk more about this actually here in our second unit. Was she really for a grand jury? Oh my gosh.
18 months.
18 what?
It's one day or every third week. 1 day a week for 18 months.
Oh my gosh. That's awful.
It is.
Special kind of hell. All right. The answer is B, to actually see if there's enough evidence to go to trial, right? A grand jury doesn't determine guilt or innocence. They just see if there's enough evidence to actually go to trial in the first place. Miranda rights. Here we go. Think about it in your head. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. So look at that. 1, 2, 3. So the answer is what? D, all the above. You bet. 22. What rule forbids evidence from gathered illegally from being used in court? You don't use it. Instead, you exclude it. A, the exclusionary rule. 23. Prior court decisions form a precedent, B, for future cases. Okay? So in other words, when a court is determining a case, they will look at what other courts have decided in similar situations and use that in their reasoning and rationale. All right, number 4. This is defamation through the, what do you say, spoken or written? It says spoken, but what did I have you guys change this one? Or okay, written word. Thank you. That's okay, no worries. Written word. Okay, what is it? Written. Keyword there, written. Libel. bless you, libel is the correct answer. And 25, defamation through the spoken word is what? Slander. Slander is the word that we're looking for there, okay? All right, so here's what I want you to do. Total up at the bottom, write how many you got out of correct, that is. How many did you get correct out of 25? How many did you get correct out of 25? That's all I want you to do. Just write that at the bottom. You know, put 11/25, or you can write it out, 11 out of 25, or 15 out of 25, or 6 out of 25, or 20 out of 25, something like that, whatever. Whatever your number was, you guys can count. And then write that at the bottom. And the idea, of course, is that when we take this at the end of the semester, theoretically, hopefully, fingers crossed, unless the apocalypse happens or something, right? What should happen? Next time you take it, it'll hopefully be higher, better, cooler. Awesome. Okay, so that gives you an idea, that gives you an idea of what we are going to do for this year. FYI, I'm not even going to mince words. All of those are questions directly from our tests. This is all stuff that we're going to expect you to know. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. You can close that out, but then go back to Classroom if you would. Okay, I might actually close it out too. And go to Foundations of the Constitution. Open that up if you would. And you'll see that there's a whole variety of things there. This is our first unit. Now, here's how this will work. Rather than have like one assignment to turn in like pretty much every day, what we're going to do is instead work on stuff in class, and then we'll turn it in all together at the end of the unit. Right? Regular American history kids, does that sound familiar? Guys, remember how we did that? We would work on stuff pretty much every day, and then at the end of the day, or at the end of the unit, we would just turn everything in together. That's what we're going to do for here, too. It's way easier that way. I don't have to, grade something like every single night. I'd rather just get it out, done and over with out of one day. All right, so here's what I want you to do. Our first assignment, your first assignment for the semester, for this class, is going to be the document that says Big Brother. Everybody see that? Open that up, please. Open that up if you would. Big Brother. You might need to scroll along the side and kind of use your mouse to hover around to find it. It's a little bit tricky. It just says Big Brother. I think it says Big Brother Worksheet, actually, is what it says. And when you find that, open it up. Find it? Yeah? Okay. Everybody see where I am? Yeah? I'm not going too fast for anybody, or we're all good? Yeah? Miss Risty, yes? Like your last name, by the way. Tell your sister I said hi. Shit, State, right? Yeah. Okay, here's what I want you to do. So this class is all about, obviously, government. Okay, the American government particularly. The thing that we want to focus on, though, is that a lot of people don't really like we say in America, we're free and we love our freedom and all the, free, all right, whatever. But the government puts way more kind of restrictions on our daily life, or maybe influences our daily life a lot more than what we might think they do. And to prove that fact, what I want you to do, and this is not for me, I'm not a stalker, right? At least that you know of, right? By the way, if you guys ever like you're getting like into your jammies at night or whatever, and you just feel like somebody's watching you. You guys ever get that feeling? Yeah, that's me. Just kidding. That was really kind of creepy. I'm just kidding. I don't even have time for my family, much less stalking. So what we want to do here is I just want you to, for your own purposes, document your life. What do you do in an average day? What does your day look like? And so for the next 24 hours, you're going to do that, right? And by the way, you can start this right now, because a lot of you looking around the room, a lot of you know what you're doing, pretty much for the next 24 hours or so, right? Some of you, it might be work. Some of you, it might be an activity, right? It might be softball, might be, might be football, might be, whatever. Might be going home and just chilling. Might be going home and playing the Xbox. Okay? Might be going home and, maybe helping your parents cook supper, make supper. Okay? Whatever it is, I want you to document what you do for the next 24 hours. Now, hopefully, about 8 of those hours, well, or more, I guess you guys are teenagers, 8 to 10, maybe even 12 of those hours, hopefully it's what? Hopefully it's sleeping. But even that, surprisingly, will be a little bit more complicated than what you might think. Okay? So all I want you to do, I'm going to give you about the last 5 minutes of class here. All I want you to do is just think about your next 24 hours. From right now, let's say 2 o'clock, you're here in government class. What are you going to be doing for the next 24 hours? Jot that down. Now, by the way, you don't have to be super specific, and don't include anything that would get you in trouble, right? Like, don't be saying, oh man, by 4 I'm going to be so baked. No, I don't want to read that. Ain't nobody care about that. Okay? So don't put that down, right? Questions on that? So start typing that out. Have that ready to go by the time you walk in the door tomorrow, and we'll talk about it, okay?